So when you and I were growing up, probably the most famous people in the world are like Tom Cruise, you know what I'm saying, Tom Hanks. Like there's this high level of fame, Michael Jordan. And then that was it. There wasn't like a mid-tier level of fame.
It was like gatekeeps. There's no way you can make it.
Right. You were part of the Hollywood industrial complex. They made you famous because you were in Vogue or you won a Grammy Award or you won an Academy Award, whatever. Now it's like there's this mid-tier level of fame. Like some of these fitness models, they wouldn't have been famous in the 80s because that skinny look was way more popular. And so what's happened is there's this mid-tier level of fame where you might only have 10,000 followers on Instagram, but every bouncer at every club knows you. When you go to the restaurants, they're all familiar with who you are. Every pretty girl in the city has at least seen your face, isn't aware of who you are. So instead of a 10 out of 10 of fame, you can be like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, like this local celebrity. And it's so possible for average guys to get that. But here's the problem. If you don't do that, you're just so left behind. There's 6 men for every woman on dating apps now. 80% of men on dating apps are deemed below average attractiveness. The top 20% of men on dating apps get 83% of the right swipes. The top 10% get 63%. The top 40% of men on dating apps get 96% of the right swipes, which means 60% of men are swiping, are competing for 4% of women. That's how insane things have gotten. It's basically, it's like what Scott Galloway says, if dating was a nation, it'd be Venezuela. It'd be the most inequitable nation that's possible. So learning skill sets, like getting better on social media, getting better at networking, like going to cooler events, throwing cooler events, and getting better at talking to women in person. These are skill sets that are being lost. And as you lose, you're not just a little bit behind, you're light years behind the guys at the top who are like banging your chick at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild how it's changed so much. And I feel like the younger generation too, they just have no confidence in themselves either. Because they get babied too much. Yeah.
Well, that definitely happens when you think. So I think a better way to say it, or the way I try to explain to people, is as we get further and further away from a survival scenario, as more of our needs are taken and taken care of by technology, as we do that, we get softer. So for instance, as a man who had high testosterone and was very strong, he was able to do a lot of work on a farm. When 98% of the American population was in agriculture, big, strong men had more babies because they were able to produce more produce, and then they could have bigger families.
Yeah.
As the guy with the glasses and the artisan and later on the computer programmer, as they started to generate more wealth, men with lower testosterone started having more children, and the overall level of testosterone started to drop. And so you start seeing that with men. It's like, this is a very different style of man that we have today, who's never killed anything, never hunted for anything, never been in a fist fight, never even bench pressed 200 pounds in his life. It's a very different individual than he just 40 years ago. And so as we get further and further away from the survival scenario, you start to see men not needing those hyper masculine qualities. Well, women like some of those qualities, and they're getting lost. And what's even happening that makes it even worse is that there's people out there giving the opposite advice. You have therapists saying you need to be hyper vulnerable on the first date. When you meet a girl, be vulnerable. Like, I can't think of anything that would dry up a woman's vagina faster than me trying to express like how the last 3 girls that cheated on me.
Oh yeah.
I tell guys this all, like ask girls this all the time on my show. If you had someone who came on and you go on a date with him and he tells you his last 3 exes cheated on him, do you think he's good in bed or has a micro penis? What do you think? It's like, it's just so crazy. And these guys just yap, run their fucking mouth. If I got cheated on, if a girl did horrible shit to me, stole all my money, cheated on me, you would never hear me talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
I would keep that L a secret.
I mean, it's like even with me, like I'm trying to find somebody right now to help me take care of all my animals.
Yeah.
And I spoke to this guy and he's like, oh, do you mind if I bring my brother? He needs help. That means you get 2 for the price of 1. Also, I'm dealing with a child custody battle right now. Oh, and then he left a voice message saying, oh, sorry if I can't really speak as I'm really high right now. I'm like, bro, like you just shot yourself in the foot. But yeah, they're doing the same thing in dating, just like exactly like you're saying.
Rich Cooper talks about this, and so does Justin Waller. And that is the concept of the unlucky.
Yeah.
So this is the girl who's like, and if guys have ever met a girl who's an exotic dancer, there's always seems to be some dog that has horrible medical problems that always needs help. Or there was a car accident that they were in where there's like, they have some back injury or something. There's just always some injury or something, and they're always unlucky, and they're always looking for the next scheme.
Yeah.
I try to say, like, whenever I hire employees or whenever I look for people to date, I always say avoid the unlucky.
Yeah.
Because I think you can make your because the thing for me is have I been unlucky in life? Sometimes. You just won't ever hear me talk about it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
never going to be a
exactly.
victim, and I'm never going to complain about it. I think women can be vulnerable at the beginning of an interaction, but men cannot.
If you're watching this, I have a gift for you. Click the link below and I will send you a private invite to my community for free. Yes, free.